What's going on, guys? In this week's video, I'm going to talk to you about 6 things that you can focus on during the off season that are almost guaranteed to make you a better shooter with a traditional bow. The first one I want to talk to you about is stretching and warming up. Before you go into a practice session and preparing your body to immediately demanded and draw back 50 pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds, 70 pounds for you meatheads out there. That's a lot to ask of your body to just do and not preparing it in some way, shape, or form. You may not realize it, but all you old cats out there that talk about saving your bodies, you guys probably already know what I talk about. There's many people that I already know that have elbow damage, shoulder damage, stuff like that just from shooting a bow. So do stretches. There's a channel I encourage all of you to check out. It's called Archery Strong. This guy goes into some pretty detailed explanations on our musculoskeletal system as archers and what parts of our body that we need to focus on and warming up in order to create longevity and really maximize our efficiency and our strength during practice sessions. And I know for me personally, it has made a tremendous difference to just implement that into my routine, to do some warm-ups and stretches before I go into a practice session or before I even go hunting. Number 5 on my list that I want to talk about is getting the correct bow style and bow weight for you. Not everybody should be shooting a recurve. Not everybody should be shooting a longbow. Not everybody should be shooting 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Some people get into traditional archery and shooting a certain thing because that's what they had available. Other people, maybe it was by word of mouth, something they were told. Well, now is the time to be really honing in on those things, finding the style of bow that works for you. Maybe you shoot a longbow a lot better than you do a recurve. Maybe you are overbowed. Maybe you're underbowed. Maybe you've been shooting that 40, 45 pounds, whatever, for quite a while, and you're ready to bump it up 5 pounds or something like that if you want to. That's all stuff that you really need to be taking advantage of during this off season, to put as much time with that bow in your hand before it counts this fall. And what you're going to find is once you find that bow, and to be totally honest, I haven't found that bow for me yet, but I know for a fact once you find that bow, the one that feels right, shoots right, you don't have to force it, it just does what you want and hits where you're looking. You would be surprised what just that will do, and shooting the adequate amount of weight, a comfortable weight. Most of you guys, I guarantee, are overbowed, shooting way more weight than you need to be. Maybe try shaving that weight down 5 or 10 pounds and see what happens. I can tell you right now that you're going to shoot more accurate with less weight. That's unarguable, regardless of how much you're shooting and capable of shooting. Number 4, it's off season, so we're not trying to focus on shooting animals right now. Now is a really good time to start shooting spots or shooting the NFA style targets, blue face targets, whatever. Start shooting dots. And the reason that I say that, because I did a video on this a while back. It was a short something. Shooting at dots and shooting at small points like this little piece of flagging tape, it draws your focus in. I've seen a lot of guys shoot all over the place at a 3D target, but if you put them in front of a NFA blue face target with a white dot, those guys start pounding, baseball, softball size groups really quickly. because it draws your focus in. Us as humans, we already have a short attention span, and I know that I struggle with holding back for too long on my draw. And the longer you hold back, the faster you're losing ocular clarity and everything else. So we talk all the time about picking a spot, right? So rather than shooting at an area target like this IBO style 3D target, spend this off season shooting dots, shoot paper, shoot at something that, even if you start getting a little bit of blurry vision or losing focus, you're looking and staring at a little dot, a little spot that's small that you want to hit. I guarantee you right now that just that is going to shrink your groups if you're used to shooting at something like a 3D target. You don't have to do it all the time. Switch it up a little bit, but I'm telling you right now, during the off season, to work on that accuracy and form and repetitiveness, shoot at those spots. Which leads me into number 3. Start working on the form. Some people think that form has nothing to do with it. It's not that important. Other people think it is the far most important thing. I kind of fall somewhere in between. I stand on the ground that if you do the exact same thing the same way every single time, you're going to be accurate. Even if you're doing it wrong, if you're doing it wrong the same every single time, you're going to be accurate. That's kind of where I stand on it. But I've talked in a lot of videos to you guys about creating a baseline. In the military, we have SOPs. We have certain ways that we trained and did things by the book, black and white on paper, because you're a product of your own training. If you start right and you start with a proper baseline, pull from that target shooting side of the aisle. I don't care if you're a diehard bow hunter and you will refuse to ever shoot a competition in your life. Watch what these guys shooting targets are doing, because those guys are shooting under pressure. Shooting in a competition and shooting an animal are two different things, but there's some similar stressors there. Those guys are shooting in front of a lot of eyes with pressure on them, money on the line, and those guys are masters of their craft. Pay attention to what they're doing, and really what they do is, in my eyes, solidify the importance of good form, because something else that good form does, if you develop a good baseline, good structure, it automatically makes you more repetitives. So I would even argue that developing a good baseline form for you is going to be even more important, and you're going to see better results than even if you're doing it wrong, yet still accurate, because you're doing it wrong the same every single time. It's going to be easier for you to find that baseline to work with if you have one. So that's why I say proper form and technique from stem to stern, from head to toe, everything from your release to your stance, everything. Drill that form and drill those things during the off season. And even if you have to take a precarious shot, something that's totally unrelated to just standing on flat range shooting with proper form, some of those bits and pieces are still going to wind up in that shot no matter what the situation. So work on the form and technique. Number 2, shoot often. Just like sports or anything else, if you're not practicing, you're not getting anywhere. If you're not going out and shooting at least once a week, you're doing yourself a great disservice. If you expect to be accurate and hitting dots and shooting good scores on the 3D range, but you're not practicing, and then you wonder why, then you're kind of bringing it on yourself. I would say that in a perfect world, if you could shoot every single day, that would be the best thing, because by default, these are tough to master. And I haven't mastered it. I probably won't ever master it. I'd say most people won't ever master shooting one of these. But because of its inherent style and way that it has to be shot, it requires a lot of practice. It's a perishable skill. I can assure you that if I haven't shot for a week or two and I come and pick this thing back up, I instantly notice a difference. So if you are repetitive, if you're faithful to this thing, treat it right, it will treat you right. Along with everything else I've already talked about to this point, if you do it regularly, at least once a week at the minimum. I would even tell you to do it 2 or 3 times a week at a minimum. But if you can shoot your bow a good solid quality, that's why I say quality practice, a good session once a week, then that's going to be pretty well starting your way to success. There's other things you can do. I've talked about the whole one arrow thing, and a lot of people do that, and it's a great way to practice. You know, do your stretches, roll out to the range at a distance that's comfortable for you, a normal shot for you. So like, you know, anywhere from, 15, 20, 25 yards. Pick your spot, draw, shoot, and if it's a bad shot, that's the only one that or even if it's a good shot, it's the only one that you get. You got to think about it for the next 24 hours until you shoot the next one. That's another great way to practice, but it's still regular and still better than not shooting for 2 or 3 weeks. And the last one, number one, I think the most important after thinking about it for quite some time, thing for you to focus on during this practice season is quality practice. We've all heard the term, whether it's in baseball, whenever we played baseball as kids, whatever. Perfect practice prevents piss poor performance. So rather than you just rolling out the back door to your range, flinging arrows with no purpose, with no intent, except just going through the motion and flinging arrows down range, you're not going to get anywhere from that. It's not going to teach you anything. It's not going to cause any growth. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? This is a journey in traditional archery. A lot of people call it that. I definitely tend to agree. It is a journey. And if you aren't putting some purpose and some drive and some emphasis into your practice, it's not going to take you anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere from it. You might as well not even shot that day. And what I mean by purpose and intent is go out, walk through your steps, be present, do the form, do the shot process, pick the spot, and try with everything in you to make every shot a good shot. Like Joel Turner says, unless this is a good shot, I'm not going to let go of the arrow. You have that control whether you let that arrow fly down range or not. So take advantage of that. If something doesn't feel right, let down. Or if you're noticing you're doing something wrong or arrows are hitting where you're not wanting them to, diagnose it. Write it down on a piece of paper if you have to. I know some people that take dry erase boards to the range with them or leave it in their basement, and they come home and they map out exactly what they're struggling with and they work it out on a dry erase board and then come back and hit it again the next day and try to drill on that problem. And if you are having problems, come up with solutions and ways to attack them and address it. Don't shoot through it. That's why I say quality practice, because that's what it will get you. It'll make you hone in on ways that you're messing up because you're focusing so hard on doing it right. It'll make you hone in on the ways you're messing up, and then you can work on attacking that problem and fixing it before you move on to something else or end up with target panic or just trying to shoot through it, which is never going to be the solution. I can promise you that you're going to see really big results in your shooting. So guys, that's all I got for you. That's 6 things that I think if you focus on through this coming spring and summer, you are going to see exponential results in your accuracy. You're going to be jamming arrows into that 5 ring on those white face targets or blue face targets, whatever. You're going to be dropping them in on the 10s and the 12s on the 3D range, because you're going to have everything brought full circle and making the most of every single shot and being intentional with the bow in your hand. So anyway, guys, that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and the like if you haven't already. Comment below. I love engaging with you guys in the comment sections as I have the time. Get outside, grab your bows, shoot. I'll catch you next time.